So Article 2 also states that the president must be at least 35 years of age or older, and the president and the vice president cannot reside in the same state. For this reason, when Bush and Cheney were running, Cheney had to change his official state of residence because he lived in Texas. So he changed his state, I believe it was to Wyoming. The duty of the President, according to Article 2, is to execute the laws and to be the commander-in-chief of the military. So executing the laws means that Congress writes the laws, and the President's job is simply to carry them out. So he executes the laws and he executes his duties according to the Constitution. His role as commander-in-chief, now that is one that is highly contentious. Article 1, Section 8, dealing with Congress, gives Congress the power to declare war. However, the military is sworn to obey the President. And ever since President Harry S. Truman, we have understood that to mean that the military, if the President orders them to invade another country, they invade the country regardless of whether or not there is an actual declaration of war from Congress. To this very day, including President Obama, presidents will, if they wish, send troops to invade another country without getting Congress to declare war. However, there are some who would argue that is unconstitutional. Article 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's go over those briefly. Article 3 lays out the third branch of government. This is actually a very short article, but it's very important. The powers of the judicial branch are kind of vague, but I'll explain how they've been interpreted. The judicial branch, all of the judges are appointed by the President of the United States, and they must be confirmed by the U.S. Senate. The judges will then have all power in all cases of federal law arising under the Constitution. Now, here's why that's important. This has been interpreted to mean that the judges have the power of judicial review. That is, if someone sues the United States government on the basis that the government has violated the Constitution, the federal judges have the power to strike down any laws that they deem to be unconstitutional. In the recent Obamacare case, the judges could have ruled that Obamacare was unconstitutional and they could have stricken down parts of the law or the entire law. However, 5 out of the 9 judges chose not to, arguing that it is constitutional on the basis that it is a tax. But many times throughout history, the Supreme Court has overturned laws that it considers to be unconstitutional. And that is the way that the judicial branch can limit the powers of Congress so they can't just write any laws they want. Articles 4 and 6 deal with matters regarding trade and foreign policy. They also make all states equal. So Florida is equal to Georgia, is equal to South Carolina, etc. It means that we have to recognize each other's laws. It means that people cannot cross states in order to escape debt. And back during the times of slavery, this meant that if a slave were to run away to a free state, they would have to be returned to the slave state because they were slaves under that state's laws. With foreign policy, the most important point to note is that any treaties ratified by the Senate are legally binding. So if we enter into a treaty, we do have to abide by it according to our Constitution. Article 5, the reason I separated it from these is that lays out the amendment process. This is how we change the Constitution. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop it here and pick it up on the next part.